Alright, let me ask you a question. What single creature do you think makes up a full 20% of all mammal species on this planet? Just think about that number for a second. It's huge. Well, in this video, we're going to talk about the answer, which you might be surprised to hear is bats. We're going to uncover what makes these flying mammals so absolutely extraordinary. So, here's what we've got lined up for you. First, we'll get to know the only mammal that can actually fly. Then, we'll check out their unique life cycle, explore some of their superpowers, and socialize, and we'll wrap it all up with 5 amazing facts that I promise you will not forget. Okay, let's jump right into section 1, meet the only flying mammal. And this is a really important point. You might think of animals like flying squirrels, but they can only glide. Bats are the only mammals in the entire world capable of true sustained flight. We're talking flapping their wings and flying just like a bird. It's a genuine evolutionary marvel. So let's cover some of the basics. Their scientific order is Chiroptera, which literally means hand wing, and you'll see why that name is so perfect in a minute. And get this, there are over 1,400 different species. They're found pretty much everywhere on Earth, except for the absolutely coldest places like the Arctic and the Antarctic. They totally rule the mid-skies as nocturnal creatures. Now, with that many species, you've got to break them down, right? They generally fall into 2 main types. On one hand, you've got the megabats. You can think of these as the flying foxes. They're usually bitter, they eat things like fruit and nectar, and they mostly rely on their sight and smell. On the other hand, you have the microbats. This group makes up the vast majority of all bat species, and they're famous for using that incredible superpower, echolocation. Okay, moving on to our second section, a bat's life cycle. One of the most impressive things about bats is just how long they live. I mean, for such tiny animals, many can live up to 30 years in the wild. Some are even longer. To put that into perspective, a mammal of a similar size, like a mouse, might only live for a year or two. It's just astonishing. So a mother bat usually gives birth to just one baby, called a pup, each year. And this newborn clings tightly to its mother for the first few days, even while she's flying. Pups are often raised all together in these huge maternity colonies. You can think of them as giant bat nurseries. But they grow up super fast, becoming fully independent in as little as 6 weeks. Alright, section 3, and this is where it gets really fun. Let's talk about their superpowers and social lives. So that superpower we all know about, echolocation. But what is it really? Well, it's their ability to navigate and hunt in total darkness just by sending out high-frequency sound and then building a mental picture from the echoes that bounce back. It is, quite literally, like seeing with sound. How cool is that? Now, this might surprise you, but despite what you see in the movies, a whopping 70% of bats are insectivores. They eat bugs, like mosquitoes. Another 25% eat fruit and nectar. So the vast majority are either our personal pest controllers or they're helping pollinate plants. This brings us to their social lives. And a really common question people have is, with these massive colonies, do they have a leader? Well, the answer is actually really complex. Bats don't have a single king or queen running the show. Instead, scientists are finding that they form these incredibly nuanced and often very fair social groups. They build strong bonds, and they even share food with colony members who aren't their relatives, which is a pretty rare example of cooperation in the animal kingdom. Clearly, bats are way more fascinating than we give them credit for. So to really drive that home, let's wrap up with 5 amazing facts in our final section. First up, their wings aren't just wings, they're actually hands. The bat's wing has the same basic bone structure as a human hand, just with these incredibly long fingers connected by a thin membrane of skin. That's why their scientific name, Chiroptera, means hand wing. It's perfect. Second, the size difference between species is just staggering. The smallest is the bumblebee bat, which weighs less than a penny. Then, on the other end of the spectrum, you've got the giant golden-crowned flying fox, which can have a wingspan of up to 5 feet. Third, they are nature's ultimate pest control. A single little brown bat can catch and eat up to 1,200 mosquito-sized insects in just a single hour. Just imagine what a whole colony can do for a local ecosystem. Fourth, and this one might be my favorite, bats are vital to our dinner plates. They're critical pollinators for over 300 types of fruit, including things we love like bananas, mangoes, and yes, even avocados. So think about it. No bats, no guacamole. And that brings us to our final takeaway. Far from being these scary creatures of the night, bats are essential architects of our ecosystem. So the next time you see one silhouetted against the evening sky, maybe you'll see a master of flight, a tiny farmer, and a cornerstone of the world we all depend on. Alright, that is it for this video, everyone. Thank you for watching. Please make sure you're subscribed to our YouTube channel, and I'll see you in the next video.